The collapse of FTX has rocked the crypto world.
This man is wanted by Munich public prosecutors, Jan Marsalek.
Big businesses have been rocked by scandal in recent years. Swindlers rob investors of millions. So, how did we get here? Every day, Sam Bankman-Fried bought and sold millions in cryptocurrencies. Hundreds of thousands of customers trusted him with their money. Known for his curly hair and soft voice, Bankman-Fried was a superstar trader, head of the crypto exchange FTX. For years, the company was a success. In its heyday, it was worth $32 billion, more than Deutsche Bank. But at the end of 2022, the fairy tale crashed and the crypto industry's wunderkind was arrested. Sam Bankman-Fried was born on March 6, 1992. By early 2023, he was under house arrest awaiting trial. The losses, at least $30 billion. He was accused of fraud, money laundering, and bribery. This is Nassau in the Bahamas. Its sandy beaches and crystal clear water make it a vacation paradise. But it's also a dream location for businesses that want to operate beyond the reach of financial authorities. Tech entrepreneurs and banks have free rein here. The FTX trading platform had its headquarters on Western Road, not far from Old Fort Bay, a restricted area with employee-only access. In 2021, Bankman-Fried moved the company here. FTX oversaw trading in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. It quickly became one of the world's biggest crypto trading platforms.
The exchange had extremely good marketing. It attracted customers from all over the world. So the company kept getting more valuable as more and more money poured in.
Sam Bankman-Fried was born here in Stanford, California. His family was well off. He grew up just a stone's throw from the elite Stanford University. His parents, Barbara and Joseph, were both professors there. In 2010, at the age of 19, Bankman-Fried began studying at the world-renowned Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT. After graduating with a degree in physics, he moved to New York City and entered the fast-paced world of finance. For 3 years, he worked as a trader for Jane Street Capital.
He came from a very elite, very cosseted background, and I think that great things were expected of him, and he was told that he was going to achieve great things, and that made him fearless. And it's that confidence that is very alluring to other people.
Early on, Bankman-Fried realized that cryptocurrencies were being traded at different prices all over the world. He was able to buy coins for lower prices in the US and sell them in Asia at a profit. With these transactions, he made tens of millions of dollars.
The prices aren't balanced like they are on the regular stock market, where a share in a big company will cost the same all across Europe. And Bitcoin prices in South Korea were sometimes higher than elsewhere. If you can exploit that, like Bankman-Fried did, you can basically keep trading in circles, taking 5 or 10% profit each time.
In 2017, Bankman-Fried founded FTX, turning it into a hub for high-risk investors. The trading platform specialized in derivatives. Investors would bet on either rising or falling crypto prices. Both enormous profits and complete losses were possible. Despite his lack of experience, he cast a spell on investors. And Bankman-Fried was successful. Just 3 years after it was founded, FTX had 1 million customers and was the third largest crypto exchange in the world. Sam Bankman-Fried was strategic when it came to marketing. He bought the naming rights for a Miami basketball stadium. FTX was becoming a household name. He also drew in investors with pricey advertisements featuring celebrities, like this one.
So, Mark.
Are you in? I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
All right, this last one might be tough.
Nah, he loves you.
Model Gisele Bündchen and sports star Tom Brady made the unfamiliar world of crypto look simple. In 2021, FTX's daily trading volume peaked at $20 billion. Many of its customers were investors with deep pockets, known as high-volume users.
90% of our trading volume comes from people who trade at least $100,000 a day.
And Bankman-Fried himself was making a fortune. At just 30, he was worth $26 billion. He presented himself as being pro-environment, touting his desire to make blockchain technology greener. It was all part of building his personal brand. Bankman-Fried made sure that his pursuit of profit had an altruistic image. He was a member of a charity organization called Giving What We Can. It was said that he regularly donated large portions of his fortune to fight poverty around the world.
This whole lifestyle that he had bought into, the veganism, the altruism, there was no altruism involved. He wanted to make as much money in a short space of time as he possibly could.
Back in the Bahamas, at the Albany, a luxury residential complex outside Nassau. Located near the marina on Lewis Drive, there's strict security at the entrance. Only its elite residents are allowed in, and Sam Bankman-Fried was one of them. The Albany's website shows off its lavish properties. Bankman-Fried bought a penthouse here for $30 million. About 20 kilometers away is a condominium complex called One Cable Beach. FTX bought more properties here for its inner circle of executives. There were also holiday homes for top-level managers and even Bankman-Fried's parents. More than $120 million worth of real estate, paid for with company money.
Normally, companies have checks and balances, like a controlling department that makes sure money is being spent sensibly. He didn't have that, which of course was deliberate. It meant he could basically embezzle money.
That money also bought him influence in U.S. politics. He donated almost $40 million to President Joe Biden's Democrats before the 2022 midterm elections. Through surrogates, he also gave $19 million to Republicans.
You could say he bought politicians. Officially, it was only Democrats because he knew that the Republicans didn't have a good image. The Democrats were socially minded, so he publicized that part of it. The money he gave to the other side, he kept secret.
In addition to the FTX trading platform, Bankman-Fried had a second company, the hedge fund Alameda, also based in the Bahamas. Its CEO was Bankman-Fried's former girlfriend, Caroline Ellison. The pair were something like a crypto power couple.
This whole thing seems like weird.
A math genius and Harry Potter fan, Ellison's job was to keep the money flowing in with high-risk deals.
The sister company Alameda Research took big risks, including buying tokens on credit, so to speak. Then the market didn't go the way they were hoping. It went in the other direction, and Alameda's losses were covered by money from the FTX exchange.
Sam Bankman-Fried mixed both companies' finances, giving Alameda unlimited credit. He's said to have moved around $8 billion of customers' money. That's when things started to nosedive. In November 2022, investors around the world moved to secure their assets after a report raised concerns about the company's capital reserves. But it was too late. FTX couldn't pay. The platform collapsed. Suddenly, Bankman-Fried was in the spotlight. Instead of providing answers, he pleaded ignorance. FTX was forced to declare bankruptcy, and Bankman-Fried gave up his post as CEO. Just weeks later, the crypto king was arrested in the Bahamas and extradited to the United States.
Well, the words that came out of his mouth, they were saying things like, I was out of my depth, I made lots of mistakes, I didn't know what I was doing. And it's a case of whether or not you believe the words.
When investigators tried to shed light on the transactions, they found incomplete bookkeeping and untraceable deals between the sister companies. Bankman-Fried admitted making mistakes, but denied committing fraud.
My impression was either he's an extremely good liar, the best liar ever, or he genuinely doesn't think he made a mistake criminally.
300 employees lost their jobs, and 1 million investors lost money. For them, the former crypto king is nothing more than a swindler who deceived those around him. Bankman-Fried was later found guilty of fraud and embezzlement. In 2024, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The next case, a man on the run from justice. Former Wirecard COO Jan Marsalek has been wanted by authorities since mid-2020. But neither Germany's Federal Criminal Police nor Europol has been able to catch him. He's been named as one of the most wanted criminals in Europe. Meanwhile, other executives from his company are on trial in Germany.
Once head of a listed company, Marcus Braun is now on the docket.
If caught, Marsalek would also face jail time. Jan Marsalek, born March 15, 1980 in Vienna. Since June 2020, his whereabouts are unknown. He's accused of having embezzled at least 1.9 billion euros. Where is he now? Marsalek grew up on the outskirts of Vienna. The quiet town of Klosterneuburg is a 15-minute drive from the Austrian capital. It's home to around 28,000 people. Verena Purcell still lives here. She knew Marsalek when the two were classmates in the early 90s. They sat just a few desks apart.
At school, Jan Marsalek was very quiet. He was a very good student, he was friendly enough, but he wasn't the type to be anyone's best friend.
In Class 5C, Marsalek stood out as a loner. He avoided parties and didn't talk about his parents. He preferred writing code for computer programs. Even as a child, he was a perfectionist.
In about the 4th grade, a teacher once told him his handwriting wasn't neat enough, so he started writing everything with a ruler placed below the line, so his writing looked like it had been printed, so it was perfect.
The young Jan Marsalek was ambitious and hard-working. He was widely expected to ace his final exams. But just a few months before finishing high school, he unexpectedly dropped out.
He entered a computer competition and won it. Then he got an offer from a German company to go and work for them right away. It was 3 months before his final exams, and he left.
In 2000, at the age of 20, Marsalek joined Wirecard as a product developer. Back then, the young company mainly provided payment services to shady areas of the internet, like erotic and online gambling sites. Marsalek was an unconventional hire.
I remember the first meeting I had with Jan. He had a sort of military haircut, and he was wearing ripped jeans. In a corporate environment, it was a really unusual look.
Wirecard's own PR videos show a young and dynamic firm. In the early 2000s, the company expanded its e-payment services. The slogan was, "Just scan and pay." It was all about offering a new cashless way of living. Shopping seemed simple, with payment processes running in the background. Marsalek was making a name for himself at the company.
You could really see how Jan changed over time. Suddenly, he was wearing suits. He began to like the businessman image.
Wirecard boss Markus Braun took Marsalek under his wing. Both men were impatient and determined to grow the company.
It might seem bizarre that someone who hasn't even graduated high school ends up becoming an executive at a large company. But you have to understand that really big careers aren't primarily about a person's skills and abilities. They're about relationships.
Jan Marsalek came to be seen as part of Wirecard's success. During the week, he gave everything to the company. On Fridays, the luxury champagne would flow. It was well received.
Jan would talk to the employees at Wirecard's big annual parties. He'd make jokes. He was funny and approachable.
But behind the charm and friendly conversation lay ambition and self-interest.
He seemed curious about people when he met them. Now, in actual fact, he was only curious for the time that it took for him to figure out what somebody was and whether they would be of any use to him or not. And then he quickly became bored with them.
Jan was extremely ambitious. He didn't want to be small-time. He wanted to be a global success.
At Wirecard headquarters in Bavaria, the company ran 24/7, and Marsalek worked like a man possessed. In 2010, he became Chief Operating Officer and was appointed to the Executive Board. His office was 110 square meters, and he was particular about the furnishings.
The chairs always had to be the same distance apart in this meeting room. When you got up, you had to push your chair back very carefully. He made sure there was symmetry. Everything had to be as perfect as he imagined.
Marsalek began to travel abroad more and more often to places like Manila, Cyprus, and the Virgin Islands. Wirecard was expanding and business was booming. By 2008, sales had reached 200 million euros. One ideal destination was Singapore, the smart city, with well-developed electronic payment systems. Here, Marsalek expanded the business using external partners. Wirecard didn't have its own licenses in Asia, so the company made use of third-party acquirers, middlemen between itself and retailers.
The third-party partner model has served to conceal illegal payments like fraudulent investment sites or illegal poker sites.
Marsalek enjoyed living the high life on business trips. In 2016, while he was staying in Singapore, he decided to throw a party on a roof terrace with the harbor and the iconic Marina Bay Sands Hotel in the background. Marsalek also spent time in India, exploring Chennai by rickshaw and holding management meetings at the Mumbai Four Seasons. Million-euro deals, luxury hotels, expensive restaurants. This was life in the fast lane. Back home in Munich, Jan Marsalek lived in the glamorous Bogenhausen district. When he wasn't traveling, he was here in the Villa Alphonse on Prinzregentenstraße. The rent, 50,000 euros per month.
It was basically his external office, where he could do all the things he couldn't do at Wirecard's headquarters in Aschheim. Time and again, he hosted some really particular people, including former Secret Service members from different countries.
One office was fitted with insulated panels to make sure there could be no surveillance from outside. The Russian consulate was just across the street. Insiders believe that early on, Marsalek established close contacts with the Russian Secret Service. Years later, those connections would prove invaluable.
We know that he had extremely good contacts with Russia and that he knew the Russian consul in Munich personally. He'd helped his son with his bachelor's thesis. Marsalek had a lot of Russian contacts in secret service circles.
Marsalek had used 6 different Austrian passports and also had a diplomatic passport. He was extremely cautious, using several different cell phones and never traveling to the United States. He had all photographs of himself on the internet deleted.
To be as successful a fraud as Jan Marsalek, you have to be really intelligent. You have to understand complex associations and keep them separate. You always have to keep in mind which lie you told, where you told it, how you told it.
In autumn 2018, Wirecard reached the peak of success. The company was listed on the DAX stock exchange in Frankfurt, valued at around 24 billion euros. Suddenly, it was one of Germany's most valuable companies. Wirecard's managers were pleased with themselves. They'd won over thousands of investors, despite warnings from British journalists about falsified company figures. The short sellers who had bet against Wirecard had been put in their place, and Marsalek was seen as the mastermind behind the success.
When you look at him, you see the kind of face that inspires trust. It's a soft face. Something like that is helpful when you're trying to win people over.
The reality is with Jan, he had millions of cash available to pay people to do illegal things or legal. Jan Marsalek orchestrated an attack of the critics, following them, breaking into their home.
June 18th, 2020 would be a dark day for the company. Just hours before Wirecard was due to release its annual financial figures, auditors refused to sign off on the report because some important documents were missing. Marsalek sensed what was coming. He wrote to an associate.
What a morning. Don't ask. We're wavering between disaster and everything being okay.
At around 10:30 that morning, after frantic conversations with partners in Asia, it became clear that things were definitely not going to be okay.
Prepare for bad news. Really bad news.
In Frankfurt's financial district, chaos hit the stock exchange. At 10:43, breaking news about Wirecard reached the trading floor.
Publication of the 2019 annual and consolidated financial statements has been postponed due to indications that an incorrect balance statement was submitted.
It became clear that documents for 1.9 billion euros had been falsified. The share price plummeted. Within one day, more than 7 billion euros were wiped out. The company was in ruins, and Jan Marsalek lost his job.
Personnel. Board member Jan Marsalek has been dismissed.
On June 19th, the Wirecard executive board appeared before the cameras without Marsalek. CEO Markus Braun pleaded ignorance.
Right now, it can't be ruled out that Wirecard has been the victim of a considerable fraud.
Meanwhile, Marsalek was staging a dramatic escape from justice. Not having a driver's license, he had an associate drive him from Munich to Austria. On the evening of June 19th, he arrived at a small airport in Vöslau-Kottingbrunn, about half an hour south of Vienna.
All he had with him was a duffel bag. He was dressed in Prada, black jacket, black sneakers, black pants. He got on the plane, paying about 8,000 euros in cash. He didn't want a receipt.
At 3 minutes past 8 p.m., the Cessna plane took off. At the time, there was no arrest warrant out for Marsalek. His departure was perfectly legal. He continued to send messages to conceal his whereabouts. The following day, he told a friend he wanted to go to the mountains. Another message read,
"Hope you all won't mind if we hole up somewhere for a bit."
In reality, he had flown from Austria to Minsk. He used his diplomatic passport to clear Belarusian immigration.
In Minsk, he was met by a VIP service. It had been booked in advance. It's not clear by whom.
Marsalek got into a black Mercedes with a fake number plate. The escape was meticulously prepared.
We have to assume that he was taken in by the Belarusian Secret Service. They then took him to a nearby hotel. From there, Marsalek's trail goes cold, at least for the time being.
Marsalek kept sending messages to associates. He let questions about his whereabouts go unanswered while giving false information about his next move.
The current plan is that I'll be back at the weekend to meet with prosecutors.
It seems that Minsk was only a stopover. The Secret Service took him to Russia where he could cross the border without showing any papers. The trail then leads to Moscow.
We then have images showing him leaving an apartment building in Moscow. It seems he has a girlfriend there. The authorities now believe that this person is in fact Jan Marsalek.
It's believed Marsalek siphoned off millions to pay corrupt Russian security services. So far, all extradition requests have gone nowhere.
The problem is there's no address to use in a summons, and Russian authorities aren't cooperating.
Jan Marsalek, a mystery, a phantom, a swindler with many faces.
Jan Marsalek ended up being whatever people wanted to see in him. German prosecutors thought he was trustworthy. For his clients in Russia and Asia, he was a man of the world. And behind closed doors, he was probably also one of the biggest fraudsters in the history of German finance.
The lives of Sam Bankman-Fried and Jan Marsalek are linked by greed, ambition, and delusions of grandeur. In all likelihood, their stories will inspire imitators.